What does Lechatchila Ariber mean practically?
First, the words. The Rebbe Maharash said, "Die Welt sagt, am ich kann nicht herunter geht mit Ariber." The world says, if you can't do things in the natural way, geht mit Ariber, you do it in the supernatural way. Und ich sag, says the Rebbe Maharash, Lechatchila Ariber. What does that mean, Lechatchila Ariber? Don't try and start off the natural way, and then if that doesn't work, do it in the supernatural way. Start off right away with the supernatural way. That's the words. Now, to understand it a little more, we have to see who was the Rebbe Maharash, what did he teach us in his chassidus, and how did he live his life, and therefore the lesson that we take and that the Rebbe teaches us regarding the idea of Lechatchila Ariber. The Rebbe Maharash, unlike the other Rabbeim, the Rebbe Maharash was very rich. Even the Rebbe Maharash's father, the Tzemach Tzedek, lived in a home where the furniture that at that time was made out of wood, and people used to usually have cloth covers for the furniture. In the Tzemach Tzedek's home, there was such poverty that they didn't even have covers for the furniture. It was like the raw wood. And the curtains were faded, etc. And yet the Rebbe Maharash lived in a abundance, in pure riches, in a world where everything was just above and beyond, to the extent that he used everything was gold. There's this story that someone who wasn't a chassid asked one of the chassidim, Rebbe Maharash, who was actually the Rebbe's great-great-grandfather. The person asked him, why is everything gold? Even the cigarette lighter by the Rebbe Maharash was made out of gold. And said, like, what's this business of using everything out of gold? And so he said to him, Petach, fool. Who else is gold made for? In other words, the Rebbe Maharash saw the world as a vehicle for godliness. So whilst others, and even Rabbeim and Tzaddikim, their avodah was not in that way. Their avodah was dafka being out of the world. And therefore, when it comes to the world, you have to start with the natural way. And if that doesn't work, you go to the supernatural, because the world itself is natural. By the Rebbe Maharash, the world itself was supernatural. He saw in the world the reality of a lakus that it was. And that's the lesson that the Rebbe Maharash wants to teach us. Don't just try and deal with the world that conceals, and if it doesn't work, then you'll say, well, Hashem is the one who runs the world, and therefore I'm going to go supernatural. In the first place, your whole look at the world has to be in a supernatural way. And that's one of the things that the Rebbe said was, don't start necessarily only from Sur Meirah, staying away from bad, even though according to the Pasuk, and even Chassidus explains why it's like that. First comes Sur Meirah, stay away from bad, and then comes Asay Tov, do good. Chassidus explains an example. When you want to bring a king into the room, first you have to clean out the room, and then you bring in the king. Before I'm going to bring godliness in by doing mitzvahs, first I have to get rid of the bad. And yet the Rebbe explains the Lechatchila Ariber of the Rebbe Maharash is, let's milchatchila, the world itself is godliness, and therefore start with the good and with the light right away. And the same thing is with everything. We don't come and start looking at the hardships. There are no hardships. There are no hardships because the world itself is a place of godliness.